listening to The Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Gulseth.
It is Friday, which means it is time for a Set Apart to Serve conversation. Looking forward to that. We're going to talk with a family who nearly all, I think, have gone to Concordia, Nebraska. There's one more, maybe heading to Concordia, Nebraska. But we're going to talk with them and how Lutheran schools have made a difference for them as well. Today's episode of The Coffee Hour is underwritten by Concordia University Irvine. You can learn more about Concordia University Irvine by visiting cui.edu. Joining us today, the Beikmann family. David Beikmann serves as principal and teacher at Linn Lutheran School in Linn, Kansas. I should say formerly. At this point, moving on, recently received a call to serve in Pierce, Nebraska. We'll talk about that in just a minute. David, welcome to the Coffee Hour.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
And Diane Beikmann, mom, and also has served as a Lutheran teacher in the past. Diane, welcome.
Thank you.
And Camryn, daughter in the Beikmann family, and I believe is headed to Concordia University in Nebraska. Camryn, welcome to the Coffee Hour.
Great to be here.
Well, thank you all for joining us today. Looking forward to learning about how Lutheran schools have made a difference for you and your path to becoming Lutheran educators and what the future looks like for Camryn as well. So let's talk about this. David and Diane, let's talk about who encouraged you to consider and to pursue church work. David, we'll start with you.
Well, I attended Lutheran schools growing up here. I attended actually Linn Lutheran School, where I currently serve for my elementary school years. And throughout those years, I did see faithful teachers that were dedicated to making sure each child knew the love of God. I had a Mrs. Beyer and a Mr. Bergdahl, Mrs. Brandt, Mrs. Cruzy, and Mr. Varner. Those are all of my elementary school teachers, and I have fond memories of them and remember their names here. And they each had an impact in my life. And they just encouraged me by being good examples of Christ's love and mercy each and every day. I could see them enjoying sharing God's love and being able to do that at a Lutheran school. I wanted to do that as well. And seeing that God can have an impact in the lives of children, I saw that each and every day and wanted to be able to share that love too with my students.
Diane, what about you?
Well, I also had the opportunity to attend a Lutheran school for my early years of education. And my mother was a Lutheran school teacher. She actually started a preschool program back when early childhood education was fairly new. She started that at St. Paul's Lutheran in Haven, Kansas. And I had several aunts and uncles that were Lutheran educators as well. I remember going to the National Youth Gathering as a teenager and being just amazed at the community and the large organization that the Lutheran Church is. And I had visited Concordia Seward as a student, and knowing that my mother attended there also all pointed me in the direction.
David, tell us about your time serving at Linn Lutheran School.
I have been here as teacher and principal here for 11 years. And the town here of Linn, we are in rural north central Kansas, and our population of Linn is around 340 right now. And in our school here this year, including our preschool, we have close to 100 students in there. This year we're at 98. And so I guess when school's in session, I think we make the population of Linn go up by 25% each day. So
I love it.
But our student population has more than doubled here in the last 10 years. Our school is part of an association of two churches here, of St. John's Palmer and Zion here in Linn. And we're supported by other local LCMS congregations here. Linn is a special area where there are 5 LCMS churches here within 12 miles of Linn. So we've had a lot of support from those congregations over the years. And, each of the churches here, when they started in the area, each had their own Lutheran school that they started. And over the years now, we've combined into Linn Lutheran School Association. I believe that happened in 1967 is when we formed this association. But the roots of Lutheran education here in Washington County would be going back 143 years. And we have those support of all those congregations, of 5 congregations here, but currently there are 2 churches in the association here. And we've had such strong support. Each year we have an annual auction that some years has raised over $200,000 for our endowment fund. Our school here, we have a preschool program for 3 to 5 year olds. We have 2 sessions of that. And we have 1st through 8th grade here. Our classrooms are multi-grade. We have 2 grades per classroom at the elementary level. I teach 7th and 8th grade during that time, and the pastors come in and teach confirmation classes to those. And I get a little bit of time to be principal during that time. So any discipline issues that happen in our school, they have to happen during confirmation time. So make sure. We have 5 teachers on staff here for those classrooms.
So lots of multi-grade or combined classrooms, and people serving in multiple roles. You could serve as principal and teacher, and pastors also get to do some teaching as well. It sounds like a great sense of community.
It is. And, it takes a community to raise children, and this is certainly a good example of that. And we do have students from the entire county of Washington County here. We have served a wide area. I know I said Linn had a population of 340, but population of our county is close to 6,000. So.
Now, I understand that Set Apart to Serve is starting to make a difference for you and the school that you serve. Tell us about how Set Apart to Serve has been a part of what you do at Linn Lutheran School.
I think that initiative was started at the convention a few years ago, and we did get to the curriculum that went along with that for our classrooms here. And we had that curriculum that we used in the classrooms for our grade levels, and it's just able to talk about what it meant to be a Lutheran school teacher and the other vocations that go along to be a called teacher or a called church worker. And so we talked about that with our classrooms and with our students, maybe more so in the upper elementary level and the junior high level in my classroom. And so when it came along to the idea kind of started with my daughter Camryn when she decided to become a Lutheran Education, a major at Concordia Seward. And that was an example for the students to see someone choosing that as their career. And so I'm going through those different questions that were in the curriculum. We ordered that through the Synod, and they sent that out to us, and just talked about the different vocations that you could have. And that's when we decided to have that special Set Apart to Serve chapel.
Tell us more about that chapel.
Well, when Camryn decided to go to Seward, she got a letter of intent to sign from Concordia Seward. And that's similar to when athletes sign letters of intent to play athletics or play sports somewhere. And ironically, they don't do that anymore with all the different changes that have come to college athletics. But Concordia still sent out a letter of intent. And they suggested that letter could be signed in front of your congregation. But we also thought about how that could be done in front of the children here at school. And because we had used the Set Apart to Serve curriculum, then we thought this was a great idea because we already had those materials and had discussed kind of what it meant to be set apart to serve. So we decided to have her sign that letter of intent in front of the students at a chapel. And that might open the door to more conversations at school and home as what it means to be a church worker and what that profession entails. So we decided to ask Brian Amy, who is serving as a DCE at Holy Cross in Wichita, to come up to speak about vocations and what it meant to be a DCE. And many of the children, we don't have a DCE in our churches here, and many of them wouldn't be familiar with that role. And so this allowed Brian to talk about during that chapel what it was. Brian encouraged the students to consider how God is calling them and assured them that they can serve the Lord in any vocation. It doesn't have to be church work, but he also went through just the different options of what it meant to be a professional church worker. One of our association congregations here in Zion and Linn, we have a vicar this year, and Vicar Harding was able to talk about why he decided to become a pastor. Originally, he was an education major, and he was feeling God calling him to the pastoral ministry. So then he talked about during this chapel too, what it meant to be a seminarian. And we also invited Pastor Cook here at Zion to come up and answer a few questions about what it was to be a pastor. We didn't find one in the deaconess role. And so that was a hard one we did talk about that professional church work vocation, but we didn't have one come talk to us. So that would be on the agenda for a future chapel, I think. And then we finished our chapel with Camryn here, and she shared some words about her decision to attend Concordia and why she wanted to become a Lutheran school teacher. And not just a teacher at a public school, but a teacher at a Lutheran school. And then after that, we had her sign that letter of intent in front of everyone and gave a big cheer from the students as a testimony to the students at Linn Lutheran.
And we will share more of your story, Camryn, right after we take a quick break. You're listening to The Coffee Hour. I'm Sarah Gulseth.
I'm Andy Bates.
The Concordia University system is comprised of 5 universities of the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod. Located across the United States, the universities offer more than 160 undergraduate and 50 graduate programs and approach learning from a Lutheran context with the goal of developing Christian leaders for the church, community, and the world. Learn more about your Concordia University system at cus.edu. The Concordia University System. Education built on God's Word. cus.edu.
Welcome back to The Coffee Hour. I'm Sarah Gulseth.
I'm Andy Bates.
We're talking with the Beikmann family, David, Diane, and Camryn, for our Set Apart to Serve series about being Lutheran educators. And Camryn, we got to tell your story because the signing of a letter of intent to be a church worker sounds pretty cool, honestly. Tell us about your decision to become a Lutheran teacher. What made you consider this path to be a Lutheran educator?
Well, see, it runs in the family, clearly. So I was around a lot of Lutheran teachers, or both my parents were Lutheran teachers once growing up. And my mom actually was my preschool teacher. And she likes to tell me about how after class, while she was cleaning up all her stuff for the day, I would take the stuffed animals and line them up and have circle time and read the Bible to them and set them up in our circle time. And so I think being a Lutheran teacher is something I've always wanted to do. So I'm blessed to have, tough to worry about making that big decision or worrying about all these options. It's something that I've always wanted to do. And I like working with children. And so I really want to share the most important message with them, the gospel of Jesus Christ, and be part of the Great Commission to make disciples. And I have observed that from both my parents, who have been my teachers, and others who have taught me through my elementary school years. I was inspired by their dedication and their desire to be servants and leaders at the same time, which is really what I think sets church workers apart from others, the concept of servant leadership.
Now, did you track all those hours that you were teaching the stuffed animals? I mean, you might be able to log that as credible, like service learning hours or like teaching experience, you think?
I think so.
Yeah.
Get a head start on my student teaching.
There you go. A head start on student teaching. Now, you signed a letter of intent. How did you explain what a letter of intent is to the students at Linn Lutheran School? Did you talk about what that means as you were sitting down to sign that letter?
Yeah. I made the easy analogy or comparison to like signing an athletic letter of intent so that they would be more familiar with it. And also, explain how it's like a pledge to be a church worker and how it outlined several criteria for me as part of what I was signing and committing to, so that I would regularly call on the Lord to lead me, successfully complete a church work program at Concordia, and stay in good academic and residential standing at school, and be an active member in Concordia's Christ-centered community and take part in faith-building and formation activities, and involve Concordia in my first call process upon graduation. And so I think I talked about, why I wanted to do this and why I thought it was important to share, my signing day, Concordia requested that you sign it, in front of your congregation, or at least, publicly, so that you could share your commitment with your church or school and ask for their prayers as I prepared to go serve.
How exciting. So you've signed the letter of intent, ready to study at Concordia, Nebraska to become a Lutheran teacher, a church worker. What did that mean to your family and friends that you were signing this letter of intent and that you are pursuing this path to become a Lutheran educator?
Oh, I was pretty excited to share it with my friends, and I have a friend who also is thinking about being a Lutheran teacher. And so I would hope that in the excitement of my signing day, that maybe that would also help her make her decision to come join me or whatever. But it's also very exciting for my family. I feel their support and they all have told me that they're very proud of me. And so I really appreciate how much they support my decision.
What are you excited about to take that next step to go to Concordia, Nebraska, and to start the next part of your education journey to be a Lutheran teacher?
Well, I think I'm really excited about being around all these other students who want to be servant leaders like me, because here at Linn, I guess I don't have that many other people who are going to go with me. So it'll be nice to be part of a community of other students my age who also want to start their journey to be servant leaders.
And Camryn's not the only one going to Nebraska, right? The rest of the family is headed to Nebraska as well. I understand, David, that you have received a call to serve at Zion Lutheran in Pierce, Nebraska. Now, tell us about what that's like, receiving a call, serving currently as a teacher and principal at Linn Lutheran in Linn, Kansas, and then receiving a call to serve at another school in Nebraska. What's that like, going through that process?
It's a difficult process to undergo, to figure out where God is calling you, and to keep those prayers coming as you deliberate a call along with your family as well. This year, we kind of use it as a learning experience too, as we talked about set apart to serve a curriculum. Then having a call during this time, I was able to be a little bit open with my students talking about it. Some of the questions that had come up is, well, what does it mean to be in the office of public ministry? And a call is goes through a public process here, because you have to let your churches and congregations know. But it brought up some questions about the difference between a commissioned and ordained, and what a divine call actually means, and how that you're set apart that way in serving the Lord. So it was a learning process.
Mm-hmm. What will your role be when you move to Pierce, Nebraska?
It'll be similar to the one I have here in Linn. Their school is a little larger here than what is in Linn. So I will be a principal and a teacher there, but I will be more on the role of principal there instead of, here I'm at 80% teacher and 20% principal. It'll almost be the other way in Pierce. I'll be 75% principal and 25% teacher. So.
Now, David and Diane, it sounds like you've really built a culture of church work formation and recruitment at Linn Lutheran. Can you tell us more about that culture? I know you explained a lot with the chapel service and really trying to incorporate different church workers. Tell us more about why this is important for you to have this culture of church work.
Well, Linn Lutheran has a good history of producing church workers. When David was a student at Concordia, there were a couple of classmates from here in Linn that were also studying to be different church work vocations while he was there. It's been a couple of years since someone went specifically for church work, although we have a number of students from Linn, from the area, that are at Concordia right now, just in different fields of study. But it's great to see other students choosing to go to Concordia from the area too, and being part of the Christ-centered community that they have. We felt like having the chapel and talking about the need for church workers would be a first step to getting the students thinking about what their future might be and whether they would like to serve in a church work capacity. And we certainly hope that after our departure, that Linn Lutheran would continue to encourage church work as a joyful vocation.
David, what do you want to bring with you to Zion in Nebraska, in Pierce, Nebraska, when it comes to Set Apart to Serve and the things that you've been learning through your experience at Linn Lutheran School? What are some of the things about Set Apart to Serve that you want to bring with you?
Just the love and joy of being in ministry, being a Lutheran school teacher my whole career. And the reasons why I became a Lutheran school teacher was because of the joy that I saw with my teachers growing up. And that was a joy to share the love of Jesus. And I just want to bring that with me too, so that each child knows that Jesus loves them and all the things that he's done for them and what that means to be a called worker and how we can do that at a Lutheran school that we couldn't necessarily do at public school. And it is a divine call and a ministry that those students and those families need to see.
Well, now that everybody's moving to Nebraska this year, how far from Concordia, Nebraska is Pierce? I haven't looked it up on the map. Will you be able to, Camryn, will you get to see your family once in a while?
Oh, I think it's honestly about the same amount of travel from Seward to, and as it is from Seward to Pierce, just in a different direction. So,
So you'll still be able
It's
to
about
see
an
each
hour and a
other.
half away, so we just went the other direction from Seward.
Not too far at all. Well, Beikmann family, thank you so much for spending this time with us today and sharing about how Lutheran education and Lutheran church workers have been an important part of your family. Thanks for spending this time with us on the Coffee Hour today.
thanks for having us.
Thank you.
You can learn more about Set Apart to Serve by visiting lcms.org/SAS. You've been listening to the Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Gulseth.
The Coffee Hour with Andy and Sarah is a production of KFUO. To support the Coffee Hour and KFUO Radio, visit kfuo.org. You can also text KFUO to 41444 or send an email to gifts@kfuo.org. And you can call us at 800-844-0524. KFUO. Christ for you, anytime, anywhere.